Hello. I'm Paul Barclay. I've been in the games industry for a long time. Started at Wizards of the Coast, making Magic, among other things. I'm going to talk in a bit more detail about some of the things that you just heard from John, mostly focusing around the accessibility and tying that to blockchain gaming. This is where we are now. This is a blockchain game right now. This is how you get players in. There's barbed wire, there's mud. It is a horrific, horrific experience. We want to be like this guy. Like, come on in, come on in. Why? Why? We want to get to... Go away. There you are. 1 million DAUs. That's a good target to have. Pokemon Go, 20 million. Fortnite, 15 million. League of Legends, tons. Yeah. We're going to wait and see how long it takes to log into a a crypto game. It is a long time, and you get to the end, and there's no gameplay. This cannot scale to 1 million DAUs. There are not 1 million people in the world willing to do this, capable of doing this, interested in doing this, that care enough about your game to do this. This is how to do it on a mobile game. You download the game, and you start playing. That's it. This is where we need to be as an industry. We need to have zero friction for our games. We've just got to get there. Some of the barriers that we see: get rid of the wait to play games. Play straight away. Give them items. Give them stuff straight away. Get them caring about what you do. Why is this a good thing? And the last one, like I've made this mistake making games several times. Like throwing an account creation barrier straight up at the start. There's better ways to do this. You can go out there, look at the top mobile games out there. There are ways to make this work. The main thing here is don't reinvent the wheel. Like the mobile game industry has solved so many of these accessibility problems. We can do the same thing on the crypto side. There are ways to do it. Fonts. That says gamers. The answer is crypto gamers don't really exist as a category. You've got a bunch of people playing gambling games. You've got a bunch of speculators. You've got 2 billion mobile gamers. Like anybody who's playing a crypto game is a gamer. They've got their phone. They've got devices to play games on. You can get people so much more easily on mobile and on the App Store. If you want to acquire people, I'm not Fortnite. You're not. None of us are Fortnite. We've got to be on the apps. We've got to be on the app stores. We've got to play nicely with Apple, with Google, with Steam. There are ways to do that. The biggest one is don't try and get round their walled garden. Don't try and take payments other than through them. So you're taking payments in dollars, or euros, or whatever other currency. It's the way to reach players. It's likely not going to change. At some point, Apple, Google are likely going to add cryptocurrency payments. I imagine that's going to be the case. It's going to be through their own payment network. It's not going to be your token. It's not going to be my token. It's going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe a stable coin, maybe something like that. But we're not going to get around the walled gardens anytime soon. Next 5 years, they're still going to be there. So that's where we got to play. We know this stuff, right? People want fun. That's why they play games. The second point is a good one for crypto. People want the dream. They want to be able to own their stuff, to sell their stuff. It's really one of the big value drivers. John mentioned it in his talk a minute ago. The last two are other things for crypto people to. If you come into crypto not from mobile gaming, these two are way bigger deals than anybody realizes in gaming. That having a good customer service, good game managers out there, being able to just solve a problem for a player, like, oh, I forgot my account login. That can make you $500 from that player, because a good experience turns them into a payer. If you're on the pure crypto side, you can't do that. Have I maybe forgotten a set of crypto passwords, maybe, and lost some money on that? Yeah, that was embarrassing. Oops. And there's no one I could turn to. So games are a service. Customer service is part of that service. You've got to be able to offer a decent level of customer service. Just back to takeaways. Right to John's talk. It's lots of games powered by the blockchain. I agree with him completely. The crypto games niche is going to stay. It's going to stay a niche. I believe it will continue to be there. I think there's good money to be made there. I think there's some great products coming out of it. It's still going to be niche. It's still going to be small. We can get a huge portion of those 2.2 billion gamers playing blockchain games by basically making them not realize they're playing a blockchain game, other than the fact that, oh, I know that if I get something that's awesome, I can go sell it, or go trade it, or go use it somewhere else. Like, that's the dream. One other thing, copy people's UX. Like, people have solved all these problems. Like, even in this is not just going to the app game point. This is basic, applies to crypto games as well. Websites have solved a lot of UX problems that I see time and time again in these crypto games. Like, don't make people sign up for an account before they can see what's going on in your game. Like, show them something up front. Like, if you can't let them play up front because they have to pay money, show them some gameplay. Like, stick a video on the on the site. Like, it's low-hanging fruits to get people from, what is this? It looks interesting. I've heard about it, to, oh, I'm going to spend $500 on a cat. And like, there are people out there that easily will. Like, you can acquire people. It works. And then the last thing that I'm really not going to talk about much is, if you solve accessibility, still got to solve scalability. Like, base Ethereum, not there yet. Maybe it'll get there. There's a bunch of sidechain tech coming out. There's a bunch of other chain tech. You have to have something that can handle a good number of transactions. I'll give you a quick example. PlayFab, which I'm sure many people know, we use them as a backend service for some of our games. They handle 15,000 transactions a second. 15,000, not 15. That's this kind of scale that we need to be handling for running games. That's really the baseline of it. One of the products that I've been involved in a lot is a product called NovaToken. We're working to solve some of these issues. We're designing systems that can allow the mobile games to deliver blockchain assets on to anybody, no crypto accounts required. We're not focusing on cryptocurrency payments or cryptocurrency rewards at all. We see that area as hard to handle for the app stores, but enabling crypto items to be delivered to any player so they have no idea that it's on blockchain until they need to care about it is really the next step to getting along the chain of short, medium, long-term adoption that we heard about a little bit ago. I think longer term, there's definitely we'll see some movement from some of the big players. I think we'll see movement from some of the platform holders in various ways. They're going to be happy with us if we make them money. That's like, make Apple money. They'll be happy. They might not tell you that they're happy, but they'll be happy. That's basically it. So we've got plenty of time for questions. Can't skip it with a clicker.
I'm
going to go to the end slide.
Okay, have any questions for Paul? No, I have one. So you mentioned very casually that you were involved in NovaToken doing something along these lines. Can you go into a bit more detail about kind of what stage the project's at?
We're coming up to launch right now. We're launching in November. It's tech, assuming everything goes well. It's looking like it's going well. So we'll have Unity, JavaScript, SDKs that any mobile dev can integrate. Obviously, a lot of people in this room are blockchain devs already, so the problem that we're solving might not be the problem that you're having. But for the people who have been building games for years and want to become blockchain powered, it's a perfect solution for that. We'll have basically a system that can handle any reasonable sized game. I can't promise that we'll be able to handle a Pokemon Go at launch. There's some scaling challenges there beyond just the base tech, but we've got a route to be able to handle that kind of size within. If someone came to us and says, "Hey, we're going to make a 20 million DAU game on your system," we know how to make it work, and we'll do that first.
But you're specifically targeting mobile games?
We're specifically targeting mobile games. The system obviously can do anything. Like it's a non-fungible token generation system based on player accounts rather than crypto accounts. So it can handle anything that could be thrown at it. We're focusing on mobile games because I think there's a lot of value there. There's a lot of need there. We'll obviously be broadening. Again, it's a Unity SDK. You could put it in a console game. You could put it in a Steam game. You could put it on a web game. But mobile is where we see the most impact that can be given from delivering blockchain assets and turning more people into blockchain users. Like everybody who uses it and then realizes that they now have blockchain assets, which again, not going to be 100% of your users, not going to be 20% of your users, but those people will then start to think about blockchain in a more positive light. They'll start to evangelize to their friends. It's everything to incrementally move the needle forwards to the point where it's just ubiquitous. Move it forward to the point where some of the walled gardens and some of the bigger players start to realize this is the way forward. This is how we can make games that appeal to more people, and that just massively increases the adoption of blockchain. That 1 million DAU game that I mentioned earlier would have definitely more individuals playing it than people who have interacted with a blockchain at this point in lifetime. Possibly more unique accounts. If you look at the numbers, there are a lot of most people have way more accounts than on blockchain. So you've got to do some calculations for how many unique people there are. But a game can be the biggest blockchain user just like that.
Yeah. No, it's good to have the vision of a million DAUs of a blockchain game. I guess the irony is most of those million people won't know they're playing a blockchain game.
Yeah, but they don't know that they're playing a game with over UDP or TCP. Like they don't but they'll understand that there's a game object that has sold for $1,000, or there's the history of this game object in the game, or there's a player council that makes decisions and they vote and it's all secure, or there's a ton of people, players. They don't care about tech. They care about value. They care about what does this mean for me? They care a little bit also about what does this mean for the thing that I care about. So that's where you'll start to see, and again, it's like it moves things forward. It starts to turn things into a positive light. It starts to rip away, and especially you've got that million DAU game up on Apple that's blockchain powered. That's a big pointer to, hey, this stuff's not a scam. Like, it's got a decent company backing it. It's approved. It's taking money in a way that I'm very comfortable with taking money in. It's those pieces that fight the tons of perception of scams and gambling and crime and everything else that is out there, and it's getting better. Like, we're moving in a positive direction on all these fronts, which is great.
Oh, we have a question there. Just wait for the microphone, if you can say who you are as well.
I'm Andre from the center. Well, this is not really a question, but more of a strong disagreement, if you don't mind. And it might be a bit controversial, but it comes down to what you said about playing nice with app stores and gatekeepers and helping them make money. Well, I don't know, I just have a completely opposite opinion, because blockchain was originally a disruptive technology. It was supposed to disrupt those middlemen and give power and control back to players and users and small developers. So I'd say it might be better in the long term if we don't play nice with them, but try to go around them, because in that way, because if the technology is truly revolutionary, then we will be able to go around them, because it will beat the current walled gardens that we have. And then they will have no choice but to adapt. If we keep empowering them, then we just keep giving them power and control, and we kind of lessen the impact that blockchain could possibly have. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, I'd like to hear your opinion.
Absolutely. Like, I don't think you're entirely wrong there. I think there is potential for blockchain to disrupt those big walled gardens. I don't see it happening soon. In general, and specifically, boycotts don't work. We're not going to be able to change Apple's mind by not making games on Apple. Someone might be able to change Apple's mind by making an amazing blockchain power. You probably have to make a blockchain-powered phone. You probably have to do hardware first, then the software and the payment processing and everything else. Like, it's definitely possible. It could be a great thing, but right now, like, that product hasn't even been talked about. The people making exchanges, making marketplaces out there that are trying to solve this, they still can't grab any of Apple's market share. Like they can't get on. Like, we might see some HTML5 stuff going that way. I think there is a route for that. I think that could be something. I encourage people to take that route. Like, if you think that's a valuable route for yourself, for the industry, do it. I think if your goal is build a business in today's marketplace, beyond the Apple App Store.
No, I guess you're right. It's a kind of an issue of scale. It's certainly not going to do a million DAU game, mobile game off a Google Play or an App Store. But you could do.
I think you could do a million DAU mobile game on HTML5. I think that is possible. I think it is insanely hard to get right and do. Like, you lose a lot of benefits at that kind of scale. But it could be. It's not impossible. It could be done. Will someone do it? Yeah, I think someone might be able to make that happen. Is it going to be mainstream? I mean, if there's a sort of Fortnite level success there, maybe. But then again, like someone who's made that, Apple and Google Play and other people are going to come along to them and say, hey, you could be on App, and you just look at the numbers and you say, we'll gain another million DAU off this just by putting it up there. just by opening this popular game up to a bunch of gamers that don't want to go it that way, and suddenly you're into the situation where you're deciding between trying to fight Apple or making $10 million a month extra. And you can use that in all kinds of ways to drive. So it's a really tough business. And by the way, I don't believe Apple is worth a 30% cut. I don't believe what they give is worth it. But what we might see is some of this pressure making them make that a 20% cut, a 10% cut. Maybe they just go, it's our platform. We're still fine with it. So yeah, it's the platform side of things is going to get interesting over the next 5 years.
Good question. Yeah. Anyone else? Just wait for the microphone.
Further comment on that, because I know I've spent part of my life trying to do exactly that and compete against Apple and Google at Nokia. But I would say there is one market where this could change, and that's because it has completely different dynamics, and that's China. So I would look at China very separately from the Western world, and that's a market where we could see the innovation, and it could also then drive behaviors in the Western market. So
I totally agree with that. I think China is just different. And yeah, it's different enough that we'll see. I think we'll see very different things. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't have the expertise to predict it. Probably nobody in this room does. Maybe someone does. But someone out there in China is figuring out how to solve this right now, and there'll be something that will go, wow. I mean, the biggest blockchain game out there is not CryptoKitties. It's some 10-cent Pokemon Go knockoff in China. It's massively the biggest blockchain-powered game out there by like an amazing amount. Yeah, China's awesome. I don't understand it. I'm scared.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much, Paul.